Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Millennialz Anonymous Podcast. Yes, this is your girl, Lise Winnie, and I'm a fucking millennial. So let's get this party started right and quickly. But before I can do that, I gotta give a big shout out. Because I don't know what I'm saying if you didn't know. Because I'm pretty sure everybody knows it's Memorial Day weekend. And I want to give a big shout out to all the fallen soldiers and heroes. And all of the vets and all of the active duty soldiers. I want to give a big shout out to everybody because Memorial Day is not just about eating cheap hot dogs and trying to pretend to like your auntie's fucking potato salad. Like, this Memorial Day is more than that. And that's why I was just so fascinated by how many fucking people just didn't give a damn about this quarantine because it's fucking Memorial Day. Now, what I will say is just because they're your goddamn family member don't mean the motherfuckers ain't carrying the virus and you can't get it. Because I think that's the misconception that if you somehow share a bloodline that you can't get sick from them. I want y'all to know that is false, okay? So I need for y'all to stay safe out there. And again, big ups to the soldiers who make it possible for us to stand in line at the Ross Dress for Less in the Five Below and be free to do that. So I want to give a big shout out to them, big hand claps to them. Thank you so much for what you do over here for us and over there for us so that we can do the stupid shit that we do here in the United States of America as free as we fucking want to. I just want to give a big shout out to them, despite the issues that we may have over here in the United States. There's nowhere else I don't think I would rather be. Also giving a big shout out to my peoples over there at Brunchin'. We recorded today at brunch and we had a guest. Mr. Lamont King was on. So he's a comedian, he's a radio personality, he's worked with some of the best of them like Kevin Hart. He was in the Russ Parr's movie, so he worked with people like Kevin Hart, and you know, he worked with people like David Attenborough Greer in that movie, George Wallace he's worked with briefly, Russ Parr. So he's well versed in his comedy and radio game. So he dropped some gems, so make sure you tune in for that because he did drop some straight gems for y'all. If you are not familiar with the gems that he dropped, you gotta make sure you like and subscribe to Brunchin' Podcast on all major podcasting platforms. And if you want to watch the video, because yeah, we video, we cool like that, you can watch it on Millennialz Anonymous on Facebook and on IGTV under Millennialz Anonymous as well, and on YouTube under Brunching Podcast. You can find it there. So let's make sure we lock and load, and we liked and subscribed on all those for brunch. Just do the same thing for Millennial. I don't know how the fuck you're listening to this if you don't. Well, some people do listen to shit, but they don't like it. So like it while you listening to it. You don't have to, even if you don't want to listen to it no more, just like shit, okay? Just like it, okay? And we're gonna move on because we gotta talk about the top 10 trending topics of the week on this Memorial Day with all of these people out there eating their quarantine food at their quarantine self-made fest that they are calling Memorial Day out there. So here we go to these top 10 trending topics of the week. Here we go, let's get it. So Mr. Tekashi 6ix9ine is still on his Tattletale Tell-All biopic. He got the book coming out, which is calling A Tattletale is Released from Jail, and he has chapters 1 through 3 already written. Chapter 1 was get home and get right back on fucking Instagram trolling people. Chapter 2 was Meek Mill. Chapter 3 is Snoop, and chapter 4 is now Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber. So now he is accusing them of what? Cheating the Billboard charts. Yes, they're from Universal, and he's saying at Universal, you use your credit cards and you bought up all these streams and downloads and albums so that they could jump from number 6 or number 5 to number 1. And he was mad because it was forecasted that he was supposed to win. But what they didn't tell him in this biopic, okay, is that these streams is domestic. So it don't matter how many you stream worldwide, this is domestic. This is what happened here, you know, right here. Right here. It's what's happening here. But he didn't understand that. He also didn't understand the difference between streams and downloads and radio play, which the song didn't play on the radio at all. Like, I'd never heard of the Tekashi song on the radio, except for Fifi. That's the only song I think I've ever heard on the radio. I don't think I've heard any of his other stuff on there, and I think that was on the radio because of Nicki. Like, I don't know, but he's doing a lot of talking, and I don't know if we're gonna finish this book because he's just doing a lot of fucking talking. And I defended you last week. Listen, 6ix9ine. I defended you last week, but you doing entirely too much telling. It is entirely too much telling. I know you are embracing the rat. You are saying it is the year of the rat. You are embracing that. That is fine if you are embracing that. But I know that you're trying to get all the cheese. We need you to just get the cheese and then shut the fuck up. So we just need you to do that so that we can get through this year and everything. I'm tired of it. And then according to Hip Hop DX, Dr. Dre says that social media has ruined the artist's mystique. And I'm going to have to agree. I've never disliked more celebrities than now because social media has really brought us into your world. You know, it's a whole new world. It is. It's a new world. Because I remember the days when we used to dream what some of y'all actually fucking sounded like when you talk. Like, we didn't even know how you talk. Like, when we was like, woo! I don't think they read well. I don't think this is not my dream. Or their voice was 10 times higher than you anticipated. Like, I don't think his nuts dropped yet. I don't think it did. I think he's still on a different octave. That's the days we long for. The days when we had to imagine what you were like. Not the days that we knew. The days that we imagined what you were like. I remember we need to go back to that time. I remember the time when we first met, girl. Oh boy. I remember the time, and I think we should go back to that. And I think the doc is on to something. I think he's on to something. And in the craziest, there's not enough irregular, defective it's not knockoff, it's real. Irregular, defective, name brand designer shit in the world. The Ross Dress for Less has lines backed up everywhere across the nation, like places like Louisiana and places like Indiana and all of those Annas and everywhere else, and people are standing in lines in order to get their irregular or defective or last season's Michael Kors, because people don't have shit else to do. It was very little mask there. It was very little social distance, and people were standing in line for hours to get this shit. Now, I'm telling you, even on a good day, you know what I mean? And I shops at Ross because I shops at Ross because I don't have money. I'm not wealthy. You know what I mean? So I shops there. But what I'm not gonna do is stand in line for hours, never in a fucking Ross Dress for Less. Like, I don't need, it ain't that much, like I said, last season's designer anything for me to stand in the fucking Ross Dress for Less. Like, I'm not saying I'm above it. I just ain't gonna fucking stand in no goddamn line, and I definitely ain't gonna stand in no goddamn line for 3 hours to get the fuck in there just to buy some clothes. Then I don't have nowhere to fucking go. Like, I mean, I guess people were standing in line because in fucking Memorial Day we saw all these fucking people at pool parties and cookouts and all of this shit, and it's crazy to me because I'm like, I don't trust none of that shit. I will be outside in fucking August if these numbers can continue to go down. I'll let y'all go out there first, and I'll see. I'll wait. I'll wait. I ain't fucking around with it. It ain't enough cookout in the world so I can sit there and talk to, you know, somebody about their fucking deck or some shit. Like, I don't got time for that. Like, no, unless we making some serious moves, I'm stay my ass in the house. And in other news of people that needed to stay their fucking asses in the house, Mr. Floyd Mayweather packs his club down there in Arizona with a bunch of people that have very little protections anywhere. And it was no prophylactics, no gloves, no mask, I don't know if they had prophylactics. Let me stop. No gloves, no mask, no nothing. They was not social distancing at all. And, you know, Floyd said, fuck this quarantine, but I can't really blame Floyd because so a lot of it, So a lot of the stuff that's important that you may need to know, right? Like the information about this just so happens to be in writing. And maybe, because allegedly, that's not necessarily a strong point. I don't know. I can't say that. I cannot say if it is true or not. But it's a lot of it's in writing. So maybe he didn't get it. You know what I mean? He didn't get it. So I'm not going to blame Floyd because he might not have gotten it yet. You know what I mean? It might not have came past his desk yet. Maybe he doesn't watch the news, and he maybe with the writing, the written part, fuck it, I'm gonna move on. And speaking of what the hell, man in Delaware decides that he was gonna fuck some horses. I don't know if he's a brony. I don't know what the fuck is going on with him, but he decided he was gonna fuck some horses, and he tied up the little horses' hooves in the legs, and he heard a couple horses tying them up, and he was fucking the horses. He was fucking the men horses, he was fucking the women horses, he was just fucking horses. He was just fucking everybody, and you need to hide your kids, hide your wife, because he fucking everybody out here. And it took them 4 times to fucking find him. Now, what I will say, this was a white man. He was very white. And I think that's what happened, because I'm like, I could see the first two times. Okay, all right, maybe you didn't get him, maybe you didn't see, and this man was butt ass naked fucking the horses, and he clearly had horse shit on him because he was fucking horses in the booty hole and nobody could catch him. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, if this was a black man, I'm pretty sure he would have been caught on day one, because they would have been like, his black ass don't belong in these goddamn stables. So I don't know why it took y'all 4 times, but they did find him, and he got arrested for all kind of shit. So, he got arrested for horse rape and all of that. So I'm glad they got him. And the craziest shit happens in this quarantine. I don't know. And I think that was back there in Delaware somewhere. And Aisha Curry is back out again at full force. She's on IG. She is bikini dressing, baby. She is looking good from head to toe. She lost a bunch of weight and she is looking good. And her husband took a picture of her and everything. She posted on there. So people are loving it. Of course, they loving it. Everybody loves a good look story. People don't like it when you look like shit, but they love it when you look good. And so everybody's commenting on it, and they all, gassing her up and everything. And she looks good, but I think some people were giving her some backlash because of what she had said last time about girls covering themselves up and being respectful of their bodies and stuff. But now that she's skinny and everything and she lost all this weight, now she wants to show off. That's all we was trying to do in the first place. We just lost a little weight, Aisha. That's all we was trying to do back in the day when you was telling us we was just being just ridiculous. We was out here being ratchets. We was doing too much. We just had lost a little weight. So you was judging us. Now we looking at you. And Jagged Edge verse 112 is coming. And I love myself some peaches and cream and some let's get married. I just want to get married. It's coming. Whether or not they will be together in the room, I don't know. This is the first time I think we're having a group. So let's see what happens with this one. Hopefully they will be in the room, because just like our next topic, Beanie Man and Bounty Killer had a live and the audio was amazing. They didn't have any technical difficulties, really. It was pretty good, and I think it was because they were together. It was just because they were in the same room, so they didn't have to worry about, you got T-Mobile, I got Boost Mobile, this is what's going on over here. All of that. Like, we didn't have to worry about that. You got dial-up, I got that blue class shit out there. Like, you didn't have to worry about none of that. You know what I mean? So we just had goodness. But what did happen is that Beanie had to stop the cops, because the cops had came. And he stopped the live in the middle, and he said, you know what? You don't want to be the guy that shuts down the verses in front of 500,000 people. And he stopped the cops. He said, nope, we ain't doing this. Boop. And he just went back to doing what he was doing and everything. So he shut it down, and they continued to make some good music. He played all the hits that I remember as, growing up. I'm not really big in knowing all the names and stuff of the reggae songs, but I love some reggae. You put on some reggae, you will definitely twerk somebody. And I don't think he had on underwear either, Beanie Man. But that's fine. He was dancing and all of that. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time. And Donald Trump is actually refusing to put up or unveil President Barack Obama's photo, which is actually breaking a 40-year tradition, which is absolutely awful. It didn't matter for previous presidents, whether you were a Republican, whether you disagreed on issues, like Barack Obama did it for George Bush, and George Bush did it for Bill Clinton, and they had this little ceremony, and they would come and they would unveil it, and they would say stuff about the other president and stuff like that, and the other president would say some shit, and it was like a thing. And so now he's not doing it because, Donald Trump keep Barack Obama name in his mouth. Like, he keep his name in his mouth like a fat kid always is eating cake. And it's just as ridiculous that you can't do this. And y'all is all, on Joe Biden ass about this and everything. But speaking about people making unnecessary comments, Megan Good is speaking out about her skin. So she looks a little tad bit lighter. Not a lot of bit, but a tad bit lighter. And when you look at her, and she's saying that she had a bad chemical peel or whatever, and it made her skin lighter, and she's self-conscious about it, and she's having a hard time with it, and I'm pretty sure the comments that people are making are not helping. And so now she's trying to get her stuff together and get herself back together and put everything together. And I don't know how a bad chemical peel or whatever on your face makes your body lighter, but somebody was saying that maybe she evened it out, because her face was like, so she couldn't be walking around looking like a porcelain doll, so she had to make herself even. So I guess that's what happened when you even yourself out. I don't fucking know. I don't. I can't today. I can't. But that has been your top 10 trending topics of the week, and we will talk about Joe Biden in a minute. So let's talk a little bit about Joe Biden. So Joe Biden is in trouble again. He was talking to Charlemagne, and I think he made a joke, and he was talking about that you're not black if you don't vote for him. And he said a joke, and the joke didn't land well. And of course, now he has people just up in arms about that. Now, what I will say is that, listen, Joe, I need you to shut the fuck up. Like, you all we got left, right? You know what I mean? You are the only other choice that we have. So I need you to shut the fuck up. Like, you don't need to make no jokes. You ain't a goddamn comedian. Apparently, you're not that funny or fucking relatable to people. So I need you to just shut the fuck up. No more jokes. No more. Just get the job done and go sit down or whatever. But he seems to keep talking. But my issue is all the people out there that are saying, oh, I ain't vote for Joe. He's racist now. And I'm like, listen. If you're the type of person that's saying that and you don't know what's going on, like you're not following the issues, you're not following all of the things that are passing and not passing in the House, you don't know the laws and bills that have been passed or blocked, or all of, all the things that Trump is pushing through. If you don't know what's happening, shut the fuck up. Like, I need for you to do a little research if you don't know what's going on. Like, I need you to dig a little deeper and do a little research and find out exactly what's going on before you start saying that. Because to be totally honest with you, if you're not offended or upset by any of the things that Donald Trump says, which most of y'all that are going after Joe Biden you seem to give him, Donald Trump, this like, oh, that's just who he is at this point. And he continues to have his support. Only in the Democratic side or the left side is when we can't, like, there's always an issue. And this is why we don't win. There's always a fucking issue. Right now, we are in a particular time in history that hopefully we never see this shit again. I hope we never see this shit again. And we can blame who we want to blame, but once it got here to the United States of America, this was not handled well. This has put us in a situation where everybody is starting to feel this. No matter if you're a business owner, no matter if you're an employee, a mom, it doesn't matter who it is. This impacted everybody. Some people more than others, because some people got richer, like Jeff Bezos, you know what I mean? But most people, it impacted them in a negative way. I also will say that you need to not take your advice from somebody who does not live a similar life from you. Because I get it that y'all, we want somebody to be our Martin Luther King. We want somebody to be our Malcolm X. But we just don't have that now. So I get it that y'all kind of cling to these certain individuals that you think are the best option to be leaders. And I guess somehow, some way, one of them people became Charlemagne the God. And I can respect Charlemagne the God for the fact that, for the most part, he says what he says and then he stands in it for the most part. I mean, there's been some times, where he's kind of went, that's not really what I meant. But for the most part, he says what he says and he stands in it. I can respect a person that does that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you also have to listen to him in totality to realize that he himself has said a bunch of shit that is extremely controversial or could be misconstrued in some way where you would say, I don't think he should be the person leading black people. You should not be getting your opinions and advice from Charlemagne. These are just facts. And it has nothing to do whether you love Charlemagne or you dislike Charlemagne. My thing is this. If you can't make a decision based on somebody else's opinion, because the things that are going to benefit him are not going to benefit you, and he's going to be voting the same way you're voting for your best interest. Being black in America is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of things. Right? And it's a lot of hardships that come along with being black in America. But being black and poor in America has a much different tone to it than being black, famous, and wealthy. There will be times that people who are black, famous, and wealthy will get out of shit that normal black people would not. I've heard the argument, oh, well, look at R. Kelly. And I'm like, R. Kelly has gotten away with that for years. When R. Kelly was popular, he got away with that shit for years. It didn't happen like for normal, he got away with that for 25 years or some shit like that. We're not gonna sit here and pretend. So when you're going and listening to these, you've got to know that they are gonna have a different perspective in life, and we can't ignore that. It's anything wrong with them being successful. It's not anything wrong with them having money, but it's different. So the urgency that you have is going to be a lot different from the urgency that they have. So people like Puffy, people like Charlemagne, they can tell you that I vote, we gonna hold our vote, because to be totally honest with you, being a wealthy person, this ain't gonna impact you that much. Their life is not gonna change that much because they have money. It will change for you because your taxes are gonna go up. You're not going to get the healthcare you need. Your wages are going to be stagnant. These are things that are going to happen to us poor folk. Rich folk, life ain't going to change that much. So yes, they can be stingy with their vote and just say, fuck it, we'll see what happens. Because if Donald Trump's president, I'm still rich. If Joe Biden the president, I'm still rich. They don't really give a damn. So just know that when you talking about listening to somebody who is problematic themselves. Just listen. Because I'm to be totally honest with you, both of those individuals are kind of problematic in their own right. And that's the problem. Who isn't? So if that's your issue with, Joe Biden, because he made the joke and he said some things, and Joe Biden is not, I don't think he was anybody's first choice, but he's who the fuck we got now. And I would much rather Joe Biden get in, because I know he's going to appoint people and put people in place that are not going to destroy the EPA. He's going to put people in place that are going to make sure that we're getting the proper wages, and they're not going to destroy the Labor Department. His whole goal is not what Donald Trump stands for, which is to dismantle and break apart the system. And he's not breaking apart to fix it. He's dismantling it so that he benefits off of it in some way. We need that to go. We need a sense of normalcy to be restored in office. And I think going towards Joe Biden, we can get there, because at least we can have rational conversations about how to get shit done. Because nothing Donald Trump did happened without being bipartisan. We don't get a criminal justice reform bill without the Democrats saying yes. We don't get a stimulus package without the Democrats saying yes. But on the flip side, when it came down to what Barack Obama was trying to do, we got a bunch of no's. We need to make sure we're pushing these people out. We need to move forward so that we can move our country forward in the right manner. Whatever that is, maybe you decide I want to vote for Trump. That's fine. But just don't be listening to some random rich person and making your decision off of what the fuck they told you. Go do your own research and figure it out from there. I'm just saying, I think it's best for you to do something as opposed to do nothing. That's all I'm saying. And if you're going to say that black people need an agenda, sometimes, this is a suggestion, maybe it would work if we came up with an agenda and started to give some of these ideas to these fucking politicians so that they know what type of agenda you are fucking looking for. That's like if I come in a restaurant and say, I want you to fix me something good. Okay, sure. And you say, well, what's on the menu? And then I just start rambling off different things on my menu. And they'd be like, well, I don't want any of that. It would probably make more sense for you to come in a restaurant and say, this is what I want. Do you have it? If you don't have that, then I can't fucks with you. I can't eat here if you don't have that. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. Can you make it? You might not have it on your menu, but can you make it? That's what we need to do. I'm just saying. Let me get away from this for a minute. Alright, well, let's talk about some controversy. Some other controversy. Miss Doja Cat, she just had a #1. So last week I was singing her praises and she was #1 and all of that with Say So, with Nicki. We were talking about Nicki's lyrics, but we weren't talking about Miss Doja Cat. And I didn't really know a whole lot about Doja Cat. I just didn't, because I just didn't listen to her fucking music. I had no idea she made a song about being a fucking cow and about titties or some shit. Like, I didn't know that's what the fuck. Like, I didn't know her like that. You know, I didn't know her music like that. I didn't even know her persona. Of course, I don't know her like that, but I've never met any of these people. But I don't even know her persona like that. Like, I didn't know what type of character or actor I did not know what she had created. So people are calling her racist because apparently she would go in these tiny chat rooms, which is an app that you can go into and you can talk to random people. And she would go in there and she would be in groups with, they said, that are like alt-right groups. And she would be in there with them and she would be degrading herself by being scantily clad or showing her butt and using the N-word around all white people or agreeing with some of their alt-right kind of views or whatever. And they said she made a song called Didn't Do Nothing, and they said that was a direct knock at Sandra Bland, because I was around the time that I think Sandra Bland got killed in the jail now, or the holding cell. Now, I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know a lot about Doja Cat. I later found out that she was a troll. She likes to troll people on Twitter. She likes to troll people on Instagram. That's just kind of what she does because it's a part of her persona. Sort of like Tekashi 6ix9ine. Like she's kind of like, that's how she gets her flair. That's how she gets the attention. That's how she gets her interactions. That's how she gets her involvement. I didn't realize that because I didn't know, because I didn't follow her. I didn't really know her music like that. And it's not a knock on her. It's just that's not my kind of music. And so Doja Cat is a biracial woman. She has a white mom and a dad that's from South Africa. He apparently abandoned the mother. She doesn't know her father at all. She knows of him, but she doesn't know him. And now that she's more popular, he's trying to come around and say, you know, it's my baby girl and all of that type of stuff, but she doesn't know him. And she grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood and all this other shit that I learned from listening to the blogs. And you have two sides. So you have one side of people that's saying, cancel Doja Cat. Doja Cat is over. She's gone. Goodbye. Good riddance. Get the hell out. And then you have another side that's trying to defend Doja Cat. Okay. So I didn't listen to the videos. I didn't see I've seen like bits and pieces of the videos, but I haven't listened to the videos in totality. So I have no idea what the fuck was said in these videos. Now, the only thing I will say is I didn't know this tiny chat existed. I think that it's awesome that she's reaching directly out to these fans because most celebrities don't do that. Most celebrities are untouchable. And she appears to be very down to earth in that way that she is touchable. So it seems like no pun, right? You can talk to her. She is approachable, is what I should have said. And I think it throws people off that they see this big celebrity now in these chats. And it's like, okay. And she does say some off the wall shit. Like, I think part of one of the videos I heard, like, she was telling people to put coffee in her ass with a straw, some bullshit. I don't know. It was just some random shit she was saying for shock value and, for attention to see the rows she was going to get out of people. And she said the N-word in there, but from what I gathered, no one engaged in that. So none of the people in the group was like, yeah, niggers. Like, nobody did that. It just kind of like she said it, and then they kind of like moved on. And I think it was one black guy in the group, and the chat group, and he didn't say anything. And to kind of give you a visual, if you've not seen this, all the people in there besides her look like they live in their mother basement and they eat Cheetos for breakfast. And, they play video games all day. That's what they look like. I'm not saying that's what they are, but in the boxes, that's kind of what it looked like. So I've gathered that she's like a introvert somewhat. Like, she's very random and kind of weird, but I gather she's like an introvert. And so these are kind of her people. This is where she feels comfortable with these kind of like people. And she's said some controversial stuff in the past. Like, this is not new to her. Like, she said some stuff about the LGBTQI plus community. She used some very derogatory language about them, and she said this is how she talks, and then she backtracked and she apologized, which I think is probably what's going to happen here, because so far she's been very silent. I listened to a couple blogs, and it was one blog in particular that stood out, and the reason why it stood out, and it was Zach Campbell, is because he gave facts. A lot of the other ones said that she was being racist, but they didn't say what the fuck she said. They just said she said the N-word, but a lot of people say the N-word. Like, you have people that have whole white friends saying the N-word to the white friends. They calling it white friends nigga. Like, I've seen it. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if that constitutes her being racist. Now, I can't say maybe I'll change my mind the next week because I ain't see the whole video. But from that, if that's it, I don't gather that. Okay. Now, the alt-right has a lot of problems. It's a very problematic corner, okay? Especially when it comes to diversity. It's a very problematic corner. So the stuff that harbors there is usually very problematic, especially for black people. It is. It just is. But if she's a Republican and she kind of agrees with some of their viewpoints and stuff, we cannot necessarily knock her for, I don't know if she's Republican or not, but we can't necessarily knock her for doing that, right? That's her opinion. If she wants to be Republican and have Republican views or values, I can't knock her for that. And in listening to Zach Campbell, because he listened to the entire video, so I'm getting secondhand knowledge, he's saying that she didn't really say any of those things. So the things that the bloggers are saying, she didn't actually say those things. Okay. She did say the N-word. He said she did. But other than that, she didn't really engage in anything. And then there were videos of the people that were in the chats with her that were saying that she didn't say anything racist either. And again, there wasn't a black guy that was in those boxes. So I can't say that she's racist. Now, I will say that we got to get this cancel culture thing under control, because we got to figure out what the fuck does cancel culture mean. And I think the problem with this is that we don't necessarily know what cancel culture means. What does it mean? And you cannot be on the left and be the same group of people that believe wholeheartedly in criminal justice reform, but you also believe in cancel culture. Those two things cannot be true. And you're probably like, well, how? Let me explain. So if you believe that somebody can make a mistake, right? Okay. And you should be able to allow them to do their time and not be, one, too harshly judged, right? And rush to judgment on those individuals, which is things in the black community that we tend to get more harsh sentences for things that white people either get slaps on the wrist for or they get to walk away from. Black people get judged more harshly. You cannot believe that you should be able to get a fair shot And then at the same token, you believe that if somebody says something you don't like, they automatically should go away forever. That's one. Two, you cannot believe that if somebody serves their time, they should be able to come back into society and live like everyone else. But then you have this cancel culture mentality where he was like, I don't think you should come back ever, never, because you said something I didn't like and I don't like it. And even though we live in a free country where you can pretty much say whatever the fuck you want, I don't want you to say it because I don't like it and I want you to be gone forever. Those two things cannot be true. Like, the same people that believe that cannot believe that somebody should go away off of very little information based on what somebody else's opinion is. It blows my mind that these two things exist. Because, like, with cancel culture, I think it also should be identified of what the fuck is it? Like, does it mean that the person is canceled forever? It means like they don't come back never again. Like they can't be on social media. They can't be outside. Like, what the fuck does cancel culture mean? So if somebody is canceled, what does that mean? And then, of course, then it goes back to how long do they stay canceled? Because if you believe that people can't be reformed, then no one would be reformed. We all have some problematic shit. Everybody, I can guarantee you, everybody has said something that somebody could construe as problematic. Everybody. So now you have this thing where you're picking and choosing who is problematic and who is not problematic. How problematic is it? So that's the part that kind of confuses me. And I'm not defending Doja Cat, because to be totally honest with you, like I said, I didn't even know Doja Cat existed until recently. So it's not going to affect me if I don't hear her music, because I didn't listen to it anyway. And it's not a knock on Doja Cat. It's just not my thing. She just wasn't in my wheelhouse. So if I don't hear her music, I don't give a shit. So I don't really care, but I think that this does bring into the larger conversation of what is cancel culture. If she gets canceled today, is she canceled forever? Or is she canceled for a year? Is she canceled for 6 months? Is she canceled until she learns her lesson? How do we know that she learns her lesson? Should we be teaching people? Because some people that are getting canceled, I was like, shouldn't this be a teachable moment? Not saying that you shouldn't lose your endorsements and stuff like that. Maybe you should. Maybe that'll change your perspective on things. But at the same time, when are they do they get a chance to change their mind, or is it forever? Because people do evolve, people do change, people do learn, people become around other people, and they do evolve as people do grow. Everybody doesn't change, but some people do. Some people get to learn and some people get to understand. And we've had people that were completely hated groups of people. They had a child that was gay, or they had a daughter that married a black guy or whatever. And now they feel differently about the way that they felt. Are we canceling these people forever? Because that's the problem. Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Barack Obama initially agreed with gay marriage, but now he does. So those are things that people do evolve. People's opinions change. People's outlook change. You've got to there has to be some level and some era of redemption there. Like I said, I can't speak for Doja Cat because I didn't hear the full video. The Didn't Do Nothing song was taken down, which was kind of like suspect to me that they took it down. But somebody posted it. So I heard the beat, but I didn't listen to the whole song because I just didn't want to listen to it. I'm not just going to lie to you. But people did. And it was a couple people that listened to it, and they were saying that she didn't actually say anything about Sandra Bland in the song at all. And she didn't really say anything problematic about black people at all. It was just that didn't do nothing trope that was there that is attached to the alt-right that kind of got people up in arms. Should she have used that? Probably not. Why did she use it? I don't fucking know. But I will say that we need to do a little bit more digging and research before we automatically cancel somebody, and especially somebody that is supposedly in our culture. She's biracial, but she's in our culture. Like, we have a lot of biracial people that are in our culture. So I think it's a matter of you figuring out what really happened. I think this is a place where we probably somebody should have had a conversation with Doja Cat. I'm sure she will come out and say something. I don't know. Maybe her publicist says this shit will blow over. Tekashi will do something stupid, and people will be looking over their head. I don't know. But I think this is where we should have a conversation, because people are saying that she don't want to be black. She don't identify as black. I don't know. The only person that will truly know that is Doja Cat. So you have to ask her. So I'm going to reserve my judgment of calling her a racist until I have information or I hear from her. Like, I've not heard from her, so I need to hear from her and maybe see these videos before I can just cancel her. Even though, like I said, I don't really give a damn, but nonetheless, just saying, hold your judgment. Give us some information first. Alright, so I'm going to talk briefly about something that happened, and then I'm going to talk about black female podcasters. Or podcasting while being a black female. Okay, so let's talk about one night stands really quick. So on Bad or Brunching After Dark, we were talking about one night stands, and somebody brought up something to me because I said I had never had a one night stand, because I said that all the people that I've been with, I've known them, or I've known them in some capacity. I've known their people. So even if you've had one interaction with them, you talk to them later on, even if you've only had one interaction with them sexually. And I said that doesn't necessarily make it a one night stand if you know them. And then somebody told me, because to me, I thought if you have sex with a stranger, right? You know, you rocking with your cock out and you have sex with a stranger, that constitutes a one night stand to me. It's somebody you didn't know. You will never know them again. You have sex with them. Bam, wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. And you move on. So to me, that is a one night stand. But what was brought to my attention was somebody was like, Lise, if you've only had sex with them once, that's a one night stand. That is, you know, you can't say that it's not a one night stand if you only had sex once. Now, I will say the reason why I say that is because sometimes you never know the situation. Like somebody might get hit by a bus, low for bed or whatever, and you had sex with them once. It don't make it a one night stand. Or maybe somebody finds their person of their dream, or they decide the next day they don't want to be a hoe anymore, or whatever the case may be, that they don't want to just sleep around with one person. And if they're not really vibing with you like that, maybe they was vibing with you on a friend level. It was just like something that happened. I don't necessarily, if you know the person, think that that's a one night stand. You may disagree with me out there in the world, but to me, I don't think that constitutes a one night stand. I will get back to the one night stands in a minute. Now listen, I'm not Instagram hot, okay? I'm not Aisha Curry. I'm not Instagram hot. I can't post no pictures on Instagram where people are gonna be, like that's just not where I'm at right now in my life. I'm too old and my body just don't look like that. It's just not where it's at, okay? I'm not Instagram hot. I'm not even fucking Facebook hot, okay? I'm not even Facebook hot. But I am fucking LinkedIn popping. Do you hear me? I am LinkedIn hot and I fucking love it. And you know why? Because the people that are reaching out to me, that are in my DMs on LinkedIn, you know what the fuck? They all got jobs, right? They all CEOs. They all got jobs. So fuck all of y'all that just be popping on Instagram and Facebook. Yes, I'm in my feelings because people don't be popping in my DMs like that. Because and it's not that I would talk to them. You know, sometimes it is a confidence booster. I'm like, I still got it. But y'all don't be there. Okay? Y'all don't be there. So that is why my LinkedIn keeps my confidence right. It gives me balance to know that I can get a dude that's about 55 to 87. Okay, those are my options and I fucking love it because I know that they got houses, I know they got life insurance and benefits, and I don't have to worry about them probably having chlamydia or gonorrhea or whatever the fuck they got over there in the Instagram land. Okay, you know what I mean? I knows what they got, and they like the fact that I gained some weight. Now my picture on LinkedIn, it doesn't look like my Instagram picture. I do look the same on all my pictures though. I'm not catfishing anybody. I look the same on all my pictures. I have gained some weight. during this quarantine. I've gained some weight, period. Like, I've been gaining weight over the last couple of whatever. But yes. But when it comes to one night stands, to me, a one night stand is when you meet a complete stranger, you have sex with a complete stranger, and then you never see that complete stranger again. That's what constitutes a one night stand in my mind. Now, I could be completely wrong. And like the person who asked me and they said, hey, Lise, technically you may have got a one night stand tell because, you know, if you have sex with a person one time, that makes it a one night stand. The reason why I don't feel that way is because sometimes you have sex with people more than once. Like, you will have sex with a person a couple of times and you don't have sex with them anymore, but you still talk to them. You still see them. You know, you might not be friends, but if you see them, you're cordial. Like, hey, what's up with you? Like, to me, you've built some type of relationship. You've built some type of rapport. I don't necessarily consider that a one night stand as much as that's just having sex with the person one time. Right? Like, you may have sex with a person one time and you may not have sex with them again for whatever reason. Maybe somebody falls in love the next day and gets in a relationship and they ride off in the sunset with a motherfucker and go on do their thing. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, to me, I don't consider that a one night stand. But if you consider that a one night stand, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about that. Alright, so let's talk about, what are we talking about? Female black podcasting. Alright, so if you are a podcaster, you probably listen to other people's podcasts. And some of the podcasts that I really, really like is Hotboxing with Mike Tyson and the Joe Budden podcast. And I enjoy the Joe Budden's podcast more than the Mike Tyson podcast, just simply because I just like the dynamic. Now, I know that some people say that they can be problematic sometimes, but I think I like a little bit of problematic behavior because I don't necessarily agree with everything that they say, but I can appreciate somebody that has a difference of opinion and kind of like stands in their meaning. And I really believe that Joe Budden has taken that podcast and really taken it to the next level. Like, it's some good shit, I will say. He's the only person that I will listen to for fucking 3 hours. He's the only person that has made me listen to a 3-hour podcast. I've not found another podcast that I will listen to for 3 hours. I've not seen it. Usually they lose me somewhere in the stream of things, the flow of things, but he's there. And another big person, I've actually not had the pleasure of listening to their podcast yet, and that is Joe Rogan. And I think I'm one of the only fucking people that really has not listened to a Joe Rogan's podcast through and through. Like, I think I've heard bits and pieces, but I've never, like, heard the entire thing through and through. And I know that I'm one of the only people because he's doing some amazing shit. He just got, like, a $100 million deal or some shit like that with fucking Spotify. And they're gonna have exclusivity of the Joe Rogan podcast. They're gonna have it video and audio. So he's doing some major things. And I was listening to the most recent Joe Budden podcast. I think they might drop on Monday or something like that. I never listen to it when they drop, so I don't know exactly when they drop, but I do listen to all the episodes. And they were mentioning something that I actually find very, very true. And one of the things that he mentions is that podcasters should be applauding the fact that Joe Rogan actually did get this big deal, because what it shows is that Spotify believes that there is some room for growth in podcasts, and it's not like people did rap, because, you know, back in the day with rap music, people thought that was a fad and it was going to go away and it wasn't here to stay, and rap is the biggest genre of them all now. And this investment in Mr. Joe Rogan shows that the podcasting game is just growing. It's getting better. It's getting bigger. And there's money to be made in it. And with that being said, I agree. I agree that there's definitely money to be made. And so if he's getting like $100 million or some shit for however many years he got, or more, he might be getting even more money than that. It does show that there's enough room in here for everybody. If they make the lane. If they make the lane, there's enough room for everybody, and there's room to be made. Because I know a lot of people ask me, is there any money in podcasting? I don't see any money in it. And I was like, clearly there's money. Now, it might just be if you are a man and you are a former celebrity or somewhat, or have connections to the celebrity industry, you might be able to make that kind of money. Maybe the lower level people, we won't make that kind of money. I don't know. But I will say that one of the biggest voices that are missing are black females. I've not seen a big Spotify deal with a black female. The closest thing I think that came to it is Queen Radio with Nicki, with Apple, because I know they have exclusive rights to Queen Radio, but I don't know if you consider that a podcast or is that a fucking radio show. Like, I'm not really sure because I don't have Apple. I'm not rich like that. So I don't have Apple. I got a Samsung Note. I don't know if this is a 10 or 11 or whatever the fuck this shit is. And I don't have that, so I can't listen to it. I've heard bits and pieces, and I think she might have put her first episode on YouTube or something, and I think I watched that, and it actually was pretty good. But I don't know if she's considered a podcaster. And then also Nicki is in her prime, so naturally they would give that to her in her prime. Like, no knock to Joe Rogan, no knock to Joe Buttons, but I think when they both got into the podcasting world, because I remember Joe Rogan from Fear Factor, like that's the only thing I really remember him from, and of course Joe Budden as a rapper. But I think both of them kind of went in the twilight of their career before they made a resurgence in podcasting. So although they had a backing and a following because they already were celebrities, they did have to do some work to pull in their viewership because they weren't already on top of their game. Right now, Nicki got the barb. She's on it, right? She's still in her prime. So I don't know if that necessarily counts. So I'm trying to figure out, is there space in this podcasting game for black women? Because what I noticed is there's a lot of money in black women. People make a lot of money off of black women, but they don't necessarily invest in black women. And I'm not even saying just me because I'm a black female podcaster, but we got so many of these blogs out there that could be given a Spotify-like deal, and I can guarantee you if you put them in front of the right audience, they will pull it. You know, you got the Impressive channel on YouTube, you got the Chronicle Speaks, you got Tasha K, you got all of these people that already have this following that they have built from the ground up. Like, these are not former celebrities. They're just regular people that were able to pull a following. Why none of these individuals have been given, they don't have to be given what the fuck Joe Rogan is doing, because I honestly don't know if anybody can do that. What he's been able to do, he's number one on every chart, on every type of platform that there is. I don't think anyone else can do that but him as a podcaster. I really don't. I don't see anybody else coming in to dethrone him anytime soon. But I think that to at least offer them what they were offering some of these individuals that they kind of gave or helped with their platform. So another thing that I learned on the Joe Budden's podcast, shout out to them again, was that there is a podcast called Call Her Daddy, right? I've not listened to it. Now, I've seen it. So I've seen the podcast art, but I didn't know what it was because I saw two white women on it and they looked like their titties was sitting up or out or whatever. And I was like, okay, this must not be for me. So I didn't necessarily click on it. And then it's through Barstool. To me, Barstool, I think sports, because Barstool has a sports section or edition or platform or whatever you want to call it, which I didn't realize it either until I listened to the podcast, because I didn't realize that they had other shows on there that weren't specific to sports. So, I follow a lot of different people on social media, and Barstool was one of them. Like, I follow the Bleacher Report because I love Gridiron Heights, by the way. I love that fucking shit. Y'all should just turn that shit into a cartoon. 30 minutes, just turn it into a cartoon. I watch this shit every week. But I listened to that because I like sports, but I didn't know that they had another platform that wasn't, because after they were talking about how much money these two girls got. So first of all, what I didn't realize is that these two individuals, they were getting like close to $500,000 a year to do a podcast, 30-minute podcast. I don't know if it was every week. It might be every week. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's every week or every day. I think it's every week. I think it's once a week. So you have a podcast that they're 30-minute podcast once a week, and they're getting $500,000. Okay. And they had some issues because somebody was getting paid more than the other one. One of the friends started getting paid more, but she did the editing and stuff. And the other one thought that it should be even, and it wasn't, or some shit was happening. But regardless, that's a lot of fucking money. And when I was listening to what they were saying, like originally they didn't have a podcast. They did some shit on Instagram. And the guy who owned Barstool happened to see it and say, hey, you doing something good here. He reached out to them and they made this happen. So although they didn't have the name was built by the girls, and they helped them build the following. They brought them to a platform that already had thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners. And they automatically built up this really big following. Now they have all of this merchandise you can purchase and all of this other stuff that you can do and all of that jazz. And so they're making all of this money, and for whatever reason, they thought they should get more money. So they wanted to get $1 million a year. And then also get some proceeds off their merch and all of that stuff, which sounds great, right? And then originally they were making $70,000, and because of bonuses and stuff, they made the $400,000. So they were doing the numbers. To me, it's just that I don't see, because clearly I don't think they were celebrities or anything like that. I could be wrong, because like I said, I'm older now, so I don't really follow all the young celebrities. But I don't see them doing that to any of the smaller black platforms or people that are not celebrities. So like I said, any of those people that I just mentioned, those black bloggers, could do what these two, and I'm not knocking these two girls. I don't remember their names. I'm not knocking them, but I think that other people like that are already doing this, they could give them that type of leverage, and black women will eat black content. Now, I think a lot of the times black people don't necessarily listen to podcasts, but I don't know if it's because the content doesn't seem to be tailored towards them. It's not marketed to them exclusively, so they're not necessarily going to listen to it. But I think if you can find a way to package it, I think black women will definitely listen to it, and there's a lot of money there. And we've proved that time and time again that black women will spend money on stuff that they like. I don't understand why we don't have that yet. And I'm trying to figure out like who's going to be next. Is it Jemele Hill? Because like I said, she got a podcast coming up. Maybe it'll be Jemele Hill. But I'm tired of being excluded from just in general. As black women, I'm tired of not seeing somebody that look like me. I may not pop up or blow up because it's a hard thing to do in a podcast game, but at least other people to see other people that look like you make it so that you can know maybe I can would be nice. That's all I'm saying. So we just need to support more black female podcasters. So if you're out there and you listen to podcasts, make sure you listen to some black women podcasts. Download it, because downloads mean more than streams. And make sure we can try to get their number up. And you don't just listen to people just to fucking listen to them, but make sure it's quality. Make sure it's something you want to hear. Making sure it's some content that gives you something, adds some value to your life, Lord God. But besides that, we got to support each other. That's all I'm saying. Let me shut up. Let me get off my soapbox. All right, this has been another episode of Millennialz Anonymous podcast. We will be back again next week. Again, happy Memorial Day to all the peoples out there. We will be back again. We're going to have a guest on. You guys are going to like it. We're going to be talking about a lot. This person was on Vice TV or Vice.com. So we are going to have a good ass time. So I'm excited about what's coming up next week. Make sure you check in with Brunchin to see what we're talking about there as well. And if you have a question or a topic that you think that we should be talking about, please make sure that you reach out to us, and that is just www.millennialz.us, so that you can submit a question or an inquiry, or you can fuss me out or whatever you want to do. Make sure that you do that. And I also want to let you guys know that we're coming up with a couple of specials. We did a Mother's Day one, so I'll probably do a Father's Day one. So I am looking for some young millennial fathers. So if that is you, I would like to talk to you about being a millennial father and a young father and raising kids in today's times and all of that type of stuff, and how you feel about being a dad, and if you think dads are not treated fairly or they don't get the credit they deserve. Like, we're going to talk about all of those things in this upcoming interview. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure that you reach out to me as well. And again, it's the same place. Just go to our website at www.millennialswithaz.us and make sure you follow us on all major podcasting platforms, which would be Spotify, it's iHeartRadio, it's radio.com, it's Spreaker, it's Pocket Cast, it's Overcast, it's Anchor, any place where you can pretty much get a podcast, you can listen to us. There's a couple of them that we're not on, but we're working on getting on those right now, like Pandora and all that type of stuff. So we're working on it. So you'll be able to find us soon. Again, be safe out there. The pandemic is not over. They are having resurgence in certain states. One of them is my state. So I need for y'all to protect yourself. Make sure you're wearing masks. Make sure you're wearing gloves. Make sure you're not just congregating together just for the fuck of it. Make sure you are being safe so that we can make sure that this thing does not get us. We don't need it to get us. So make sure y'all are protecting yourselves as much as you can. We appreciate you here on Millennials. We love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for rocking with us. Bye.